This is One on One with Ben Wabo.
The governor is not a resident governor. He doesn't stay at home. So he
Is there a
doesn't.
record that backs that up?
Of course, well, the governor is not a private citizen. He must know when he sleeps. He must know when he wakes up. He must know when he travels. He must know when he's sick. We must, because he's our servant. He is working on our behalf.
If you become governor, so you will not leave the state.
I will leave the state, but people will know when I leave the state, and I will stay more in the state. We are telling you, Governor Abdurrahman Abrazak has spent more time, perhaps 2/3 of his time, out of it.
Today, we have a very, very big fish in the house. And of course, it's our personality for the month. Today, I bring to you a legal luminary and politician who has studied law in the best schools in the world. He attended Harvard Law School, the George Washington University, Bayero University, Kano. He is an astute politician with pedigree for excellence and integrity. A former Speaker, Kwara State House of Assembly, former member, House of Representatives, member on Committee on Petroleum Subsidy, the much talked about, voted as the best legislator of the 7th Assembly, a man with straight records. He is Professor Ali Ahmad. You're welcome to One on One.
Good afternoon, dear parents. Thank you.
Now, with all this administrative, academic, and professional experience that you have garnered over the years, and with the respect that people have given you, untainted records, very, very straight, a disciplined politician, not a cross-carpeter. Today is waking up, another day is... What do you think that all this will bring to the tables of Kwarans talking about governance?
Yes, you've said it. We've been involved in government, legislature, executive. I was the Attorney General also of Kwara State. We've served at the local, state level. We've served at the national level. So we've seen it to some extent. And you just know that we will bring all that to bear when we come to apply it to governance in Kwara State.
From 2019, there was a political shift in Kwara State, and there are lots of political divides. How do you intend to unite this? Because where there's no unity, no progress.
Yes, in 2019, it wasn't about what we're doing today. Come and tell us who you are. Let's compare you with other contestants and aspirants and candidates. It was about we no longer want Saraki. So
the
Otoge movement. So there was a blind spot on the candidate. So somebody was brought in. You never knew his pedigree except that he was born of a very great man. But himself, who is he? What has he done before? He's into business. He's opaque. Nobody knows. And people never cared because they weren't focused on that. They wanted to drive away somebody they considered a black horse. Today, it is that same system that Kwarans are yearning for. Because they've seen that governance is not a tea party. You won't blame a governor that comes unprepared. You won't blame accidental politicians that found themselves there who have never held any public office. Yeah, these are private so-called businessmen. They haven't held any public trust, any public office, and you give them the highest office in the state. So Kwarans have seen it, and they are determined 2027 to change that narrative. And that's why people like us are saying, okay, Kwarans, if you're ready, we're here. Look at us very well, critically, compare us to others, and we would change a lot about Kwara State. Kwara State has been battered. We were on the rise in 2019. We were competing with high-level state. We were on number 3, 4, 5. Today, we are number 35, better only than Zamfara.
With what ranking?
On the ranking of the indices of good governance, the personality of the leader, provision of infrastructure, and competence. We are nowhere to be found in the whole of the country. We are better only than Zamfara, including on security.
Sir, if you look at the infrastructural development in Kwara State today, what would you have done differently?
I wouldn't have concentrated these projects in one location. In one location, I mean GRA in Ilorin. I would have evenly distributed these projects to critical areas of need equitably. For example, let me give you one critical example. Teaching hospitals in Kwara State. We have 2, I guess, in Kwara South. We have 3 or 4 in Kwara Central, and we have none in Kwara North. Vast as it is, none. So you can see the uneven distribution of critical infrastructure.
If you look at other states, must teaching hospitals be in all the central districts?
If you can, the level of development in Kwara State, we don't have to be drawn back. That's where we are today. We have to be moving forward where you have all this critical infrastructure in every senatorial district.
Equitably.
Equitably. So if you have one, the way we were going, it was that time that the diagnostic center, modern one, first of its kind in across the North Central, I guess, because people used to come to Kwara State to the diagnostic center. The plan was the second one to go to Kwara South and the third one to go to Kwara North. So that's the vision. Same thing with the hospital outside, because you have tertiary or you have primary healthcare and all this. So the next one is to have teaching hospitals. Instead of having 2 here, 4 here, and none over there. Why don't you take out of this? You're not taking it out, but take it out. That's why. And you may not blame people who are doing this. You see, if you don't have competence, if you are clueless about all this, they may be innocent. You can't blame them. Look at how, what project they're doing, the priority. You can't fix. You could spend the next 1 hour and say, okay, let me study this project. Give it to a PhD student. Study this project. Can you tell us a sensible prioritization that the governor or whoever is doing this project? You cannot fix it. It's all convoluted. So that's why this good governance report from a UK-based outfit, Good Governance Rating Index, that they said that in 2025, their report in 2025, that Kwara State behaved abysmally on Good Governance Index. Better only than Zamfara State. You can imagine.
Can we describe that word abysmal?
Because it is so clear. When you have 36 states and you came number 35, it is so clear. And this is not Kwaran, they may not even be Nigerians. The credible, it's all there. They gave you all the indices. What is the competence of the governor? What is the choice of the infrastructure, the quality and choice of infrastructure? And what about transparency? All those were scored. And they found Kwara wanting transparency to get the budget of Kwara State of this year, last year. You have to sweat. That's what. So it is a credible report that tells you that, look, on all these indices, Kwara State is just down there. And before 2019, remember, Kwara State was competing with high-ranking state, where about number 5 or number 6. Today, we are number 35. Last year, we were number 35. In 2026, I don't know. I hope we're not number 36 over 36.
Now, if you look at it comparatively without being a politician, is Kwara growing?
It's a negative development because it's not translating. For you to construct a road in a location, you must ask yourself, where is that road leading to? Is it assisting in moving agricultural product to a place, or it's a rural area that you want to open up for future development, or it is an area of less privileged people that you want them to have the feeling of God. There must be a reason. But this one, as I said, you cannot find a reason for this project. It's just like in the olden days, local government chairmen, they go to office, they don't have a plan. When they get there, they say, okay, what is in there today? Okay, what is it? What is it? Whatever comes to their mind, that's what it is. That is the level of governance that is operating in Kwara State today.
With your level of integrity, you have served in various committees unscattered. Do you think that governance, transparency is important to democracy, and how would you want to carry out this?
You see, for me, we're talking about all these wrongful citation of projects. Governor doesn't stay at home. He's an absentee governor. He's this, he's that. You can count 100. But the most essential thing is lack of transparency. Once you lose that lack of transparency, everything will go wrong. Because if you are transparent, people will know, people will ask questions. But these guys know their flaws. What they do is cover them and not anybody know them. It will be uncovered when they leave, except they burn out the whole place, because we learned there are plans to fake some things and then reportedly. But you see, if there is no transparency, we cannot talk about the problems of Kwara State in 1 hour, but we can talk about lack of transparency. That is the mother of the evil that we're seeing in Kwara State.
How would you like to do it differently?
Let me even handle it before I come to that. Let me explain, because people need to know. It's not about road projects. You see all these projects springing up. They're just symptomatic of the real problem. The real problem is that these people are not transparent. They're not transparent in the first place. When they emerge as governor, they say, okay, we don't want to give our records out the way the Saraki administration did. So the first thing they did was to appoint people who knew next to nothing as commissioners. After the appointment was to see, okay, holding meetings, cancel it, no holding of. Because it is from the holding of the meeting that the books will be open and everybody will know. No meeting. So you want to do a project of 3 billion, just send SMS or message, send it to somebody. So it's between you, the approving authority, and then the implementing authority.
Is that the system that is obtainable presently?
That is it, what is obtaining in Kwara State. And for the arm of government that should assist in enforcing transparency, the legislature, the Kwara State House of Assembly. If we had a good assembly, it would have been different. Because they will have been conducting oversight. They have the constitutional power to say, Mr. Governor, you told us you are spending 17 billion on Kwara Hotel. Now you have spent 25 billion. Spent in the books. Now, what is it? Who approved it? How did it come? Explain to Kwarans. No questions asked. So many other things. Why?
What about when variations are coming as the projects are going
They
on?
should have taken all those to Kwara State House of Assembly.
Did you
We
know
don't
whether
have
they
record.
took it to Kwara State House of
Kwara
Assembly?
State House of Assembly is a public space. It's not a private. Everything is held in the open. I was a speaker. So if it is done, and if it is done in secrecy, then it's not legislative house. Legislative house is like a courthouse. A courthouse cannot sit in secret, except if the judge, for security reason or for some special, maybe 5% of the time. But that doesn't translate to 95% of the time for court process to be held in secret. The same thing with Kwara State, with the legislature. You see, the executive and the judiciary, the processes must be open. So if the governor goes there and tomorrow they brought a document that it has been approved, that's not legislative. For me, what I would do differently to answer now your question, I will be transparent our system, our own party, we're used to doing it. Remember Dr. Bukola Saraki, every 2-3 months, he come out, ask the governor. They'll be calling, there will be journalists from all across the country, they ask questions. Al-Fatai came, and every month, the allocation of the state and the IGR will be sent to the public. Let everybody out, this is what we've gotten, this is what we're spending, the budget is out there on the internet. So this is what will continue, because this is what you go to bed with your eyes closed. These guys now, I don't know how they survive after government.
Don't you think styles of government differ?
It is not about style.
Is there a standard style?
Hold on, this is standard. There's no style. This is public office. That's why public office is different from private enterprise. There are protocols how you do things. When you take your budget to House of Assembly, it is passed, it must be in public. It is 0. When you want to do variation, you take it, seek approval in Kwara State of Assembly, it is 0. When you want to make approval beyond a certain amount, maybe 1 billion naira, you must hold a state executive council office. I can count the number of times a meeting was held in Kwara State for the past 6-7 years. So it's not about style.
Were you a member of the council to know the number of times?
I am a Kwaran, and when council meeting happens, people will know, except if it happens through WhatsApp or over the internet.
Is that yet still not a meeting? Because the world is growing into AI and IT. Is that not still? Must it be a physical meeting?
When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will hold meeting with all his schedule, will hold physical meeting, because there are questions to be asked. If there are reasons to hold online meeting, fine, but that could not be the gold standard. That for 6 years, we'll be holding online meeting where issues, especially in Kwara State, that we have degenerated security-wise. How do you address security meeting online? How?
No,
but that tells you, that's what I say, in 1 hour, you cannot tell, you cannot explain. But you see, once you know that with bringing back transparency to governance, you will solve all this problem. And that's what I promised to do.
Like you mentioned something about security now. How do you think the security challenges of Kwara State could be solved?
Very simple, by doing the right thing. Let me give you what will resonate with people. Now, Kayama in Kwara North is one of the epic center of insecurity. That's where Waro is. That's where Nuku is. Waro, where 176 people were slaughtered. I was there. I went there. It is in the news that last year, I'm being particular now, not too general. Kayama local government spent 200 million naira on security. 200 million naira. So you ask yourself, what's on ground? What did they buy? When there, the security personnel, I think the civil defense, they do not have patrol van. This is the center of insecurity. Local government that has spent 200 million naira.
So what would you have done?
Patrol van.
So what would you have done?
You know the answer. When you have 200 million naira and there is no van, I'm sure there is no communication gadgets. I'm sure there is no further allowance to these security people. I'm sure there is a lot of there is no. Use those two. Even if you will soil your hand, use 100 million naira. Let us see what you've spent. 200 million naira. That's just one aspect. That is local. Now come to the state. You can multiply that into, and it is there's insecurity because the governor is not a resident governor. Doesn't stay at home, so he
is there
doesn't.
A record that backs that up?
Of course, the governor is not a private citizen. We must know when he sleeps. We must know when he wakes up. We must know when he travels. We must know when he's sick. We must know. We must, because he's our servant. He is working on our behalf.
If you become governor, so you will not leave the state?
I will leave the state, but people would know when I leave the state. And I will stay more in the state. We are telling you, Governor Abdurrahman Abrazak has spent more time, perhaps 2/3 of his time, out of Kwara State.
But you're trying to bring investment opportunities into Kwara.
And we will see it in the 7th or 8th year. Because this is where we are now. See, Kwara State is a civil service state. And we haven't seen any investment. They have lied to us. They have the government of deceit, even on this security issue. I tell you, it's a government built on deceit. Let me give you an example. Before September 2025 last year, this government consistently, go and do your research, consistently there was insecurity, banditry in the country. They denied it. If there is any attack, they will say no, and you could see people have been killed. They will say no, this is just one-off. If you see this, no, this is not one-off. So in August or so, when the wives of those who were killed in, was it Babala or Okiode, they went to government house protesting. You know what they did? The pictures are out there. They sent their thugs to beat those women. Now in September 2025, Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki now spoke out and brought it to the front burner and said, Nigerians, there is terrorism in Kwara. Terrorism has landed in Kwara. That was when the focus of the nation turned to Kwara and said, is it? Because the governor has been lying. They've been lying. So the focus was on Kwara, and then facts became available to people. And then they could not hide no more. Then boom, war happened. Everywhere. And they couldn't hide it. Now, because it's the government of deceit, they say, oh no, it's a security. Now, so they admit. But for them to admit their failure and say, okay, we will do this. Say, no, security is part of federal government. Oh. So in 2019, when there was no banditry, when there was no...
But I'm
coming.
Hold
on. I'm talking about deceitful government. In 2019, when there was no banditry and terrorism, security wasn't the responsibility of federal government, because that's what they say. No, we didn't control army. So that time, it is now that the constitution was changed to make security, when the government came in, that security now became... So they will be passing the buck instead of them sitting down and saying, what did we not do right? What did we not do right? And that is what we will do when we come.